Hi, this is Abraham Kanz, the Director of Conservation Research here at the Crane Trust, and I'm coming to you today to talk a bit more about the tracked sandhill cranes we have, and just kind of give you an update on where they're at, where they've been, and talk to you about the plans moving forward for their tracking. This right here is one of our sandhill crane trackers, and you can see that it has this white clip on the side there. That actually contains a magnet, and that magnet keeps this tracker inactive. So if we were going to use this, we would remove that clip and it would start collecting GPS information and would connect to cell towers in the area. You can also see on this that we have this open face right here, and that is where this plate would then slide in. And I'll actually do a demonstration with one of our dummy trackers instead of one of these ones that we will actually be using. So this is one that doesn't have any internal components right now. It's just for demonstrations like this. And so you would put this around the crane's leg and you would set that on top right there, click it into place and slide it down. Oh, there we go. That's clicked all the way, and then slide it. And so now that is locked into place really well. What we often do is put a little bit of glue actually along these seams as well, just to try to give it that little extra hold so it's not coming off of the crane or anything. We're of course very careful not to get glue on the crane. You don't want this stuck to the crane's leg or anything like that. Other things you may notice about the structure of this tracker is that it has these black panels. Those are going to be the solar panels that will be constantly keeping this tracker charged. The trackers actually have internal settings that change how often they take GPS points based on their charge. So as they get lower charge, they may take fewer GPS points and may upload less often. And that's just trying to conserve the battery to make sure they don't completely die and we lose a bunch of information. Instead, we just reduce the amount we get so that it can constantly track. The only other thing I'll point out about these trackers is that you have this little extended neck right there, and then a little buildup of plastic around there. And that's actually really important and modified specifically for the cranes so that it gives their leg the ability to bend while this is on there, right? So the leg would be coming out here and the bend to the leg would be like that. And so it's thin and elongated right there so that this top box part does not interrupt the bend of the leg. And then we have this thickening of plastic right around here, so that the tracker doesn't wear down, the plastic doesn't get worn down by being on the crane and make the edges sharp or anything like that. So we've thickened it up a little bit just to make sure that this doesn't erode away at all or get worn down and hurt the crane in any way. And so that's some of the modifications that have been made to these trackers in order to ensure that they are comfortable for the cranes and that we're going to be able to keep tracking these cranes over the long term. So let me know if anyone has any questions. Let us know, the Crane Trust, in the comments or through email. We're more than happy to talk about the project. So we're going to just play through this video one more time. You've seen it a couple times, but it's always cool to see all these cranes spreading out into their nesting grounds, then working their way back. And one thing you'll notice about this video is I have it set to stop right now on November 1st, actually. And that's because from there on, the cranes have really reached their wintering grounds with the newer information. One of the things I want to make sure we do is not provide too in-depth information on these cranes at their wintering grounds, because where they are wintering are areas where they can be hunted, right? So New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. And so I really don't want to be providing that in-depth sort of really high detail information on their daily movements. And because of that, we're going to stop updating the map until they begin their spring migration. That's just for the crane's safety and, to make sure we try to get these trackers back to us in one piece and the cranes back to us in one piece. So if you're looking at this map right now, we can take a look at Blue, who came down through sort of central Nebraska, right? And this crane was really interesting because it actually went down closer to the Texas coast, right over here, and then its newer points are actually the ones going northwest all the way up here. So it actually works its way to northern Texas, and that's just interesting to see in terms of the crane's movements, that it went all the way down there and then decided, for some reason, we're not certain, decided that it was going to go further north again before settling around this area for its wintering grounds. We do have two that have ended in northern Texas for their wintering grounds, and you can kind of see where they've ended up. And then this one, the one that was all the way in Siberia, as we have talked about previously, is now spending its wintering, sorry, I might have said nesting previously, is now wintering in New Mexico. Finally, we have this crane right here. And so it has kind of taken to wintering in the Great Salt Plains Lake area. And this is just really cool to see that we got a crane that utilizes this area. One neat thing that it's been doing, or interesting thing, is that it keeps traveling between Oklahoma and Kansas. So with some of the newer data we have, it's jumping between these two sort of areas. You can see a single point over here where it hopped over to Kansas and then came back down here actually. So it's, oh no, that might be a continued point from there to there. But it's been hopping back and forth between Kansas and Oklahoma, which is just interesting to see. We're not certain why it's doing that, if it's just foraging up in Kansas and then coming back down to here, if it kind of likes both areas. It'll be interesting to see as the winter progresses and, figure out what these cranes are doing overall. All I kind of wanted to give as an update is talk about where the cranes ended up, what they're kind of doing for any of those that are exhibiting some interesting behavior, and then just let everyone know that the online map won't be updated until probably closer to March, maybe February, depends on when the cranes really start moving back north, and that's again just for the safety of the cranes. So thank you for tuning in, and I hope everyone enjoyed the update, and I look forward to updating you guys as we move into the spring migration. Thanks.